to show you the installation of the HydroGEN Pro water-cooled CO2 generator. We've got all our necessary supplies here. We've got the HydroGEN Pro. We've got a pump with at least 15 feet of lift. We use the Flowtech pump. This pump actually has over 20 feet of lift, and we do carry these pumps. You're going to need a couple of wrenches, a screwdriver, a bottle of soapy water to test your gas connections for leaks. You're going to have a reservoir, which we've already got full of water. And you're going to need 3/4 inch inside diameter tubing, which we recommend using a simple garden hose. We just cut the ends off for the unit. It's inexpensive and it's high quality. And this makes the installation a lot easier. We're going to start from scratch, pull the unit right out of the box, show you all the parts. Okay, so we got our propane hose, which will be attaching to the propane cylinder. I'm going to run this hose into our garden. This is the generator. You notice a couple of controls on it. We've got a water cooling knob to turn up and down the water flow through the unit, which will control how much heat is released from the unit. You know, if you're running drain to waste, you keep the water level on low. To conserve water, if you're doing a recirculation system, you can run high flow water through it. This is the CO2 output. Smaller gardens can use the setting on low, and the larger your garden, the more CO2 you need. You can turn this knob up and it'll adjust the flame inside the unit. You can mount this either two ways. We've got wall mount brackets already made onto the unit, and you can install these with screws within 2 feet of the ceiling, or there's holes punched out that you can hang it from chains. Since we're putting it in a tent, we wanted to hang it from chains because there's nothing to screw the wall mount brackets into. We've already mounted our chains, and I've got my S-hooks installed at the bottom of the chains. Okay, pretty simple. I'm going to take our gas hose. I'm going to attach to the bottom of the unit. Do not use any Teflon tape. This is a flared fitting. This is supposed to be used without Teflon. In fact, if you use Teflon, there's more of a chance you could have a leak. What's real important about tightening up this gas line is that you must use a backup wrench. If you don't, you have a potential to damage the unit and breaking off the gas inlet pipe. So it's really important to do that. Once you've got this gas line installed, one of the most important things is to check for gas leaks. Well, how you do that, it's real simple. You're going to take a bottle of soapy water and you're going to spray the connection after you've got the bottle turned on and you've got full pressure. You want to spray all these connections really well. If you use soapy water, you're going to instantly see bubbles coming up from around this connection. If you don't see any bubbles, give it a couple good squirts. You know, this is the most important part of installation. Looks like we're good. We don't have any leaks. So now it's time to hook up the water. The HydroGEN Pro comes with most necessary fittings to install the unit. You have a choice of either using 3/4 inch tubing or 1/2 inch tubing. This particular installation, we went with the 3/4 inch because, like I said, we used a water hose. Makes things a lot easier. These are the 3/4 inch fittings, and they come with rubber washers to seal them. They will not seal without the rubber washers. These must be used for the installation. Remove the caps from the bottom of the unit. You may have some water inside the unit. These are tested at the factory and there will be some water inside of them. That's what the caps are there to keep the water from coming out. These do not need to be overly tight. Because of the rubber seal, you can actually damage it by tightening too much. So we want a nice little snug turn on both. That's it. Going to want to use 2 hose clamps that are also supplied with the unit. We've already run our supply line in here. Put our hose clamp over the hose. Tighten up our hose clamp. Now our water supply is hooked up. Now we're going to hook up the water return. Okay, so the HydroGEN is installed. What we still have to do, we have to hook up our water to our pump and test it. What's very handy is these pumps actually come with a water hose connection on them. That's the main reason why we like using water hose. That's the reason we put 3/4 inch fittings inside the box with the HydroGEN. Most water hoses are 5/8 inside diameter. You will have to buy a 3/4 inch inside diameter water hose, but you can pick these up at the local hardware store. 1/2 inch tubing fittings are also supplied in the box, and 1/2 inch will flow plenty of water. Like I said, we did this out of convenience. Okay, we got our Flowtech pump. Like I said, we've got our water hose fitting on top. Take our water hose connection. Okay, attached our supply line. Submerge that in our reservoir. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to plug this in and let the pump run the entire time. The older model that we had, you had to start and stop the pump to control the unit. That's not the way the new one runs. We don't have a battery pack on the unit anymore. We have a power cord. Without power, the unit will not run. So now we can flow water through it constantly and turn power on and off to the unit. The reason we did that is because it's not good for the pumps to turn on and off. It wears them out prematurely. So at this rate, they'll flow. You can have them turn off after 12 hours when you're not using the generator. That makes sense to save that power. I'm going to go ahead and get our water flowing. Looks like we're all set. To operate the unit, like I mentioned, you're going to need the supplied power cord. This power cord would be plugged into the CO2 monitor. So you've got an outlet on the side of the unit, real simple. Just plug that in. Then we've got our piggyback cord that's plugged into a constant supplied power. The piggyback cord is actually turned on and off in a relay inside the CO2 monitor. We plug this in, the CO2 generator should fire right up. You probably noticed some clicking. That's the igniter, and you should hear that. If you don't hear the clicking, then you probably don't have the water flow set up properly, or there could be another reason why you're not hearing the clicking. If you don't hear the clicking, go through the troubleshooting guide of the generator. We did hear the clicking on our unit. It lit. We're producing CO2. As the CO2 climbs, this monitor is going to show as the CO2 builds. And once it reaches 1,500 parts per million, the CO2 generator will turn off. Now that your generator's up and running, mainly the thing you need to check on regularly is the water inlet screen. If you're having trouble with the unit running properly, most likely you've got something clogged in the screen, or it could be you could have fans blowing the flame out. There's actually a list of things that could cause the unit not to run. Refer to the owner's manual. There's a great troubleshooting guide. Once you get it dialed in, typically you're done with any installation issues. If you have trouble beyond the manual, give us a call at Hydro Innovations Tech Line. It's 512-285-6413. Thanks for your purchase and thanks for your time.